Okay, we're live on YouTube. We're live on Facebook. Let me grab the chat over here and throw it into the throw it in the Facebook stream. If you're live on Facebook, you can go ahead there and you can join us. Okay, over on Facebook. And I'm going to put that over here. All right, that is that. All right, so we're going to talk about dubbing. What does dubbing mean? It means we're going to be able to add video. And let me give you an example of one that's finished. Let me pull up a new thing. So first thing, Studio One now supports, well, it actually has done this since version 5, but they really improved it for version 6. All right, so let me get my windows arranged here. And boom, all right. So here's what happens. You can go ahead now, and you could do this in version 5, but in version 6, you would take a regular file here. You could take any of your templates. I'll just take a voiceover template here. I'm going to call this video demo. And when you do that, now you can take any video, and I'll take take this one. And I'm just going, well, hey, let me make it so you can see it here. We got to take this, and it's very complicated. It's not. You actually grab any existing video, an MP4 is one example, and I just imported it. And in so doing, it puts in a video track. Now you can arrange this in terms of height. And when you do, and one of the things you will notice very quickly is depending upon how I've done it, I'm going to close that window here. So by default, you get an extra track. This is our video track. Depending on how zoomed in, zoomed out you are in terms of the overall, you'll get to see more or less of it. And it does change. So as you make this track taller and as you make this bigger, then you can get, you see more video. It's not a one-to-one correspondence. What that allows you to do quickly and easily is scroll through your track here, your audio track, and find points about where it's changing so that you could see at the script. You could see right now there's a scene change right about here where we go from looking at this this couple and people here, and right here where we're looking exclusively at where it's showing you this little picture of a smartphone and some other things going on there and some branding, and then it goes back here to this other. Now this is a preview track. It is not designed to show you every frame that is occurring in the video. Instead, all right, I see Big Apple, New York, and Dale, late to the party. Yeah, well, I'm late to get this one started. This one took me a little longer to get it started, but thank you guys for being there. Thank you for the comments. I'm going to check my Facebook comments here. First, oh, I see Larry and Deborah. Yeah, thank you. Glad you guys are there. All right, so now I know we're working on Facebook. Now I know we're working on. So you do get this preview screen. Something fascinating. People don't realize you also get to, if your video, so this is the raw video here, comes in, and it may have a soundtrack on it. And if it has a soundtrack, then I can click on this nice little icon here, this little waveform, and then we're going to get this here, and I'm going to see if I have this plumbed in here. Yes, right here. And we'll get this all plumbed in, and what happens on that is, do you want to create an audio track? And I'm going to say yes, and what happens is it brings in the existing audio track, which means you can mute and solo it, but what does that mean? We have clients that sometimes create a scratch track for a video. And when they do that, we can now extract their scratch track. How does that benefit us? Well, I'll show you that in just a minute, because I will show you another video. This is just an example of pulling it in. And we get the little preview window here, or preview track here. But in addition to that track, what we get is we get the ability to show, and this will open up by default. And this is our actual preview window, and a couple little tips and tricks here from the preview window. I have the ability to mute and unmute this track. This is the same button that I would be using to mute and unmute this track. So if I zoom in on that, you'll see that little button right there. And I almost can't see my little mouse cursor down here, lower right-hand corner of this window. And of course, this window is scalable. So you can make it big, you can make it smaller, drag it around depending on how much screen real estate you have. If you have multiple monitors like I do, you could drag this to another monitor and put it wherever you want. But this is the same thing that's going on right at this point where the cursor is. Now, as I move the cursor around, what you're going to find out is I click here, and now I get the scene that's occurring there. If I happen to zoom out far enough, you would see, you see now I zoomed out, and now you can see where we are in the middle of that scene. So it is trying to show us some different things based on where we are, and that's pretty cool. Sometimes you have time markings, and you want to have the time, this exact clock down here, because you can show it and you can pick how big you want it, and that's for you have, I don't know why, but instead of just flat out dragging it to the size you want, there are some things here, so we'll make it normal. There's the normal size of the whole window. But see this little thing here? Sometimes you have time markings that you're dealing with. Like your client said, hey, at 15 seconds, do this or that. Well, right down here, by the way, you can put, if you double click on the time, and I wanted to go to something, I'm rolling my mouse wheel, and you can see what's happening. The cursor is now moving along the timeline, but I could also, I think I can type in there. I can type, I just type 15. If I was in this, I can type 25 if it's 25 seconds. And as soon as I go out of that, then I think it'll take me there when I do that right. I'm going to roll that and see how that works, okay? So you get the ability to go by rolling your mouse wheel over some of this stuff. Then you can do that now. So that's cool. But you may want to do it a different way. What if I have time markings, and up here is my little icon. I'll zoom in on that for us. There's the icon right there. That's our video icon. And with the video icon, then if I click on that, it shows this window again. Well, sometimes this clock just isn't big enough for me. Hey, I'm wearing glasses, of course, right? So one of the things that I can do is go up to the view menu. By the way, you can use this when you're doing voiceover. I turn on the time display. Well, this thing here obviously is big, so what I could do is turn off the time display here, make this one bigger, arrange it on my screen, make it massive if I choose to. I don't know why I'd need it that much. So all I'm saying is you have some options. You can move this on another monitor if you wanted. If you really need to know exactly where you are in the timeline, and this way if clients have told you, hey, we're at 35 seconds, I can, once again, I can click over here, and I can, on this one, I can't roll the mouse wheel on this one, but I know I can on this one. I can take this one and roll my mouse wheel. I happen to know, rolling my mouse wheel on this little display down here, you pick seconds, and then when you're over that, and I say, can you get it? Well, yeah. You don't even have to click on it. You just roll your mouse wheel over this if you wanted to work your way to a specific thing. So I can roll really quickly on my mouse. I have one of these Logitech high-speed scroll wheels, and I just roll through it. Now that shows me what's going on. So I can see the video, I can hear the video if I choose to, I can hear the audio that's with it, I can extract it to a track. I just did that as well. But now let me show you a couple other things, a couple other examples. I'll leave this display up here, and we'll talk about what would happen if you're voicing, all right? So if I play this one for you, this one was done by, let me move it all the way over, get that right up to the 0 mark there, and we'll play this for you.
Life is full of possibilities, and sometimes you need someone who can help guide you. With the Engage app by Coney DBX.
All right, so that was somebody else, and then my wife, so somebody had done this one, and then my wife did her version of it, and I don't even know if I have that. This one, this is, I think, the same thing. Let me import this one. And now I just switched out the video, and now what I would end up doing, let me go take this one out, delete that one. All right, just got rid of that video. let me do that whole thing again so that I know I start with a fresh track there and find that, and I actually deleted the video, and I had closed the track where it is. So I'm gonna show you a couple of, I don't know, I got it right here. Here it is, here it is, here it is. Yeah, right there. All right, so that one was, oh, I don't know which one I had put in there. So I'm gonna try this one. Let's see if this is or not. There it is, and we have this in here.
Life is full of possibilities, and sometimes you need someone who can help guide you. With the Logix Federal Credit Union app, you pick the banker so you can find someone you connect with. A trusted.
So what is she doing? She's watching the video while she was recording, and I'll show you how she adjusted things. And she did, I don't know, 40 of these things, because the company that created this thing had 40 different banks that they were selling this app to, and she ended up doing a video for each one of them. And the cool thing was, we had it down to a science where Lisa could go in and she was just punching in the client name, and at the very end, you'll see the very end of the video actually shows which bank it was. And so we had the ability, we were going through and redoing it with the right name, but everything was the same except for, yeah, right at the very end.
Assisting you at every step. Logix Federal Credit Union. We're here for you, making banking personal.
Okay, so you have, is anybody even, yeah, okay. So there it is there. And so point being, while this thing is going, we have the big display if we want. She did this, and I'll show you how this really worked, because now you're seeing kind of a final of how it worked. But remember, we would go at the very end, song, export video, and then because of that, we have the ability to export the whole video and name it and put a location for it, and pick the exact type of video, and there's a bunch of different things you can do with this, but you essentially can export now the audio and the video together, and it works great. All right, let me look and see if there's any questions on that. It's in the chats here. All right, I don't see any on that one. I'm gonna look on this other one here, and I don't hear a thing. Let me try this again. Let's see if anybody hearing anything here. All right, you should be hearing me. Okay, so let's see. Does Deborah hear anything? Are you hearing me now? Are you hearing me now? Because I'm going to see if somebody's not, I'll do this whole thing again. Okay, and I do think this one should have been heard while it was playing out there. You can hear you. Okay, thank you, Deborah. I saw you earlier say you didn't hear a thing. And I don't know if I didn't have the video turned up here, but let me see. Let me watch my little meters here. I have some meters that I can see if we're hearing this while this thing is playing back. Oh. Yeah, there it wrote a video file for me. I'm going to leave that alone. Let's see how you're hearing this one. Tell me, Debbie, are you hearing this?
And sometimes you need someone who can
that's
guide you. With the Logix.
Yeah, I see. I have that video turned down there. All right, I'll turn it up when we do the other thing there. All right, so that's the finished stuff on that. Don't you love when you're doing live? All right, watch this. So now I'm going to go over and show a couple other things. This one she was voicing to a video that happened to be a corporate thing where we had an interesting thing where the client provided and you'll do this sometimes when you do video dubbing and you're going between languages, for example. And what they did was this gentleman provided a scratch track. What does that mean? He actually recorded a version of it for us to listen to.
Filters applied to your case list will also control which cases are included in your report. Once the appropriate sort order.
Okay, so I don't know if you can hear that, Deborah. Let me know. The video was soft, but you could hear it faintly. Oh, okay. So I have to turn up my video. Let me think about how I'd have to. I know. That's just because I have that turned down over here. Watch this. Let me know if this works a little better here. I see. I did something.
Filters applied to your case list will also control which cases are included in your report.
All right, I'll bet that works. All right, that's it. Yeah, see, I did a live thing earlier today. I changed the setting for something else. And then now that wasn't heard here. All right, thank you. Good thing I have people that are nice and adding comments there. Can S1 show the written script on the timeline? It actually can. There's a lyrics track that you can add in here. Most people don't know about it, but here's the lyrics track, and you can import some things. I have to do something on the lyrics track, but I guess I'll show you real quick. You could have the lyrics showing here in the top. So, and when I do that, let me do this here. All right. And this can be moved around. So if I had the right script, it actually could have been shown here. And there's a way, let's see, how do I get that there? Oh, there's a way to have this. And there's a way to also go ahead and have it move to the beginning of all the things. Like you could put the whole script in here. If you did it properly, you then could move from section to section. Whole nother discussion. I'll do a video on the lyrics because it really has a ton of possibilities for making things easier, and it can move, and you can change the fonts in this window here and a lot of other stuff way beyond today's discussion. So yeah, right now the script, well, you could have them here. You can have the script on the side. A lot of times I'll have the script right on the side here, having it sit side by side, and you have the video because you can move that video window all around. Then it makes it easy because you have this next to your script. Okay, so because you have to kind of see both. And I have to admit, without punch and roll, this is doable, but punch and roll makes it dramatically easier for this reason. Very often I'll see Lisa, she'll do a line or two, and she's practically memorizing the line or two before she says it so that she can be watching the video and talking with the video. And now this gentleman, because he does a scratch track, I'll play you the scratch track now that I have the volume turned up.
Filters applied to your case list will also control which cases are included in your report.
Okay, something about filters applied to your report, okay? And so I can make that big. And when I do that, then, but here's the thing, if you look at this, I'm going to zoom out a little bit because I have marked one spot just to give you an idea. So that was his voicing and his interpretation of it. But what you can see right here is on the scratch track, when my wife did it, when Lisa did it, she started almost a second earlier than he did in terms of, that's about a second earlier. Because so this is what happens all the time with clients. And this is why, by the way, when they give you a time marking and you go ahead and you just produce the audio without having the time markings, very often they're off a half second here, a quarter second there. They'll get the beginning right. A lot of times they will get the beginning right. But what they won't get right is a lot of times its ending time marking is off even more. So the beginnings are sometimes off, the ends are sometimes off. When the guy did the scratch track, he was doing the demo. So he was doing the demo and he was talking through the demo, and he gave her the script. So she had the script, but that means that we can take his original video. We can export and pull right here. I will zoom in on that. And we can get the soundtrack. That's what this blue track is. So that's what we got directly from the client. And then once we had that, then the rest of it is she created a raw track and made all sorts of decisions. And Studio One has a bunch of little tools that make life easy as you're doing this. And I'll show you a couple of them now. So I'm going to shut this. So remember, you have all the same tools you have when you're voicing, meaning that I can go through and I can use punch and roll. I can go back and hear myself before and watch and make sure that I was hitting the spots I want, hitting the things in the video that I wanted. And here's an example, is right here at this point. There was a thing where, I'll just show you here. I'm going to play this. And I'm going to play it with the one that she did here and here.
Part or the entire report as quarterly values. Don't forget to click Submit to apply your changes.
So I'm going to show you right here on this report that there is a button here that says Submit. Okay, so there's a Submit button. And so she says something about don't forget to hit the Submit button. And when this guy did his, then he started it a little bit earlier, a little bit later, and you can see, because I just kind of marked where that Submit button is. And one of the things that happens if you're really doing a good video is you are hitting certain points in the visuals and totally having yours match the video. I mean, there are certain things that come up, a scene change, and boom, your voice sounds perfectly aligned. And that was just an example where in the demo, he hit Submit, and you want to hit the word Submit too. Well, this is the funny thing. Hers comes out slightly different. She started earlier. Then when she got to this, so you can see, this is her voicing of it. This was his voicing. At this point, she's still a little bit ahead of him. But then she took more time here because there's some space. And so she stretched this out because that was the thing. He rushed something. And remember, he was doing the demo as a scratch track anyways. He's not trying to be perfect. On this one, she's about a second ahead, the starting. And this one, she ends up before him in order to hit that Submit button. And so point being, she made all sorts of little adjustments. And let's say she was working on this little segment here, and she can highlight across it, double click, put it in its own event. And then you know what you can do? You can use the slip cursor. You hold down Control Alt or Command Option at the same time, and you get the slip cursor. Now, let me zoom in on that. Let me zoom in so you can see that little slip cursor. And if I do this, all right. Now, it's really hard to see there, but right there is the slip cursor. Let me get it over the black part here. I can't do that. That's not part of Studio One. But watch this. Hold on. Let's make this color really dark. And you have a chance to see the slip cursor here. Regular cursor. I'm holding down Control Alt or Command Option. I get a double-headed arrow. Then what you can do is you can go ahead right on that, and you can go back and forth and just take this little fragment, and I can move it forward or backward within the little event that I created called the slip cursor. And now, instead of moving anything else around, I could make this part be earlier or later as needed by using the slip cursor. And that allows me to fine-tune things and just get a little sliver. So if I've been working through this and I get everything right, I don't want to adjust the whole track back and forth. That doesn't do me any good. I want to just take a little tiny section and match it to the video without disturbing something that I already had right before it or after it. So you can make a little subsection, use the slip cursor, and drag it back and forth, and it works really, really well. Okay? So you have all these great tools that are there. This is in Studio One. It's in the Pro version. You can use some people just go ahead and when the Pro version's on sale, they buy it. And then they have it. If you do one project, it'll pay for itself. The cheap way to do it, short term, you can go ahead and flip into Studio One Plus, their subscription thing, for $20 a month and use it for a month. If you haven't used up your demo yet, you can use the demo for a month and get it for free. But if you have a project that's going to pay for itself, then buy Pro, and then you have this, and you have a bunch of other tools that we're probably not going to use, but this one we use enough. Yeah, once you're using it, why pay $20 a month and you'll have it paid off at some point, and then you don't have to worry about it. So it's pretty cool. And they keep adding little features on it, and they keep adding some stuff that are going to filter into other parts of Studio One. So I'm really happy with both the way they're doing this and the upcoming things as well. All right, let me check here. Can you still use your macros to record your audio? Yes, correct. So the one thing. So somebody asked, can you use your macros? Yeah, you can be using all the macros while you're recording this. So if I did a VO insert here, I could do that. If I use my cursor control, so if I had the video showing and I use the cursor, now back at the beginning of the video, I'm at the end of the video. I mean, it doesn't, of course, the video goes blank because that's the beginning or the end. But every other tool that we have in our macro arsenal is available for use while doing this. So yes, while you're recording, you can have all this other stuff going on as well. You can adjust the windows as you need. It's a fabulous tool for doing this kind of work. And we had done hundreds of them before we had this nice little preview strip across the top. And one of the things that I was told was, this thing just gets me in the zip code. I know where the scene changes are roughly. And depending on how zoomed in you are, like if you're zoomed and you're looking at 6, 7, 8 minutes there, then you don't see much in that preview. But as you get down to working level where you're seeing seconds, then it's pretty good, and it's not hyper perfect because it's made all these the exact same length. These are roughly 2.5 seconds here across the top for each one of these little segments. But boy, are there some interesting things. Now I'm going to check something here. I'm curious about something. No, that doesn't happen. Another feature I have to show off here another time. But I'm going to talk to him about something. Nonetheless, wherever you go in here, you will see that it's pretty close. And if I'm moving forward, you can do the same things where as the scene changes, so right here, by the way, see, there is I zoom in, I can get more and more precise with the scene changes as to, there it is. There's part of it. It's slipping through. There's a transition that's occurring there. And I can see that transition happening right there at that point. By the time it gets here, it's all the way done. So yeah, this is off just slightly. But it's still pretty cool because now depending on what you're doing, you can scroll side to side and you can get a feel for where you are. And depending on what kind of video you're doing, this one was a really tough one for Lisa because it was a terribly written script with tons of space, and they gave her and they didn't even give her a scratch track. They just gave her some music that I really did not like. But she needed to go through and hit some different, look at all this space in here. This is because it's a script that's not very well written. And so they had some visuals that were going on, and we needed all these space to hit the next thing that was in the script. And because she could go ahead and slip things around, this got slipped forward and backwards until it was right and hitting the right thing. And I'll play it for you if you want to. And then you can see at some point it switches totally different scene here. Let me see what I have live. This and this.
The final destination of your building is Stealthy Metaverse. Please look forward to the next video for more information about Stealthy Metaverse. Build, enjoy, and be richer. Thank you.
Okay, so, you know, she had, so if this one without the slip cursor, she was slipping things all over, trying to decide, one, the script just didn't do a great match to the video. And when you have the tools that you have in S1, she could re-record something, she could slip something around. It just made life easier because as long as she got, as she was going and building, she could get one section right, get the next section right, use punch and roll, come in, figure it out, watch it again, make sure and tweak it just slightly. There's a bunch of other things you can do with this, and even the music. I didn't like their music. I'd switch to a totally different set of music. I had to show that. I should show me replacing the music, but I would put in something different. I just don't like the way it started. I don't like the way it ends. I don't like the way it builds. I don't think it's the right music for what they're trying to do, but that's a different discussion. Okay, so let me check for comments here. I hope this helps some people. Yeah, no, Dale, you're not the only one that gets you're not the only one that gets an awkward script. Mainly because they don't try it, or they try it, but they very often they don't try it. The problem they have is they write the script, someone else does the video. The videographer doesn't necessarily go through and try out loud just saying the script and seeing how long. So you get these awkward pauses where it's too long. There's all this space in here. Now, the one thing, a couple other things we have going on. The music is set up to auto duck. So in other words, because there's this awkward pause in here, you will hear.
Compensation is paid differently depending on the type of land, building, and weight.
It's not enough. I mean, but the music does come up. It goes down while she's voicing. It comes up here. I would switch the music. This is an example of something that I would have had here as opposed to what they did. Which one would I have? I would have this one here. Right here, right here, right here. This one's a little better. And even this one, I would be tuning it. In fact, I'm going to take that one and I'm going to cut it off here. Double click, get rid of that other part. And now I can slip this over and we'll be here. And then this is the kind of thing that I have. This is way too loud.
Compensation is paid differently depending on the type of land, building, and weight.
And as soon as the thing's end, the music will go down.
The final destination of your building is Stealthy Metaverse. Please look forward to the next video.
Okay, now I didn't tune the auto ducking or anything there. I just threw that in there at the last minute just before I went live here, knowing that I don't like that music that they provided. It doesn't make any sense. It's just too gentle. It's but this is a very futuristic script in terms of they're talking about NFTs and things, and it just needed a better, something that filled in better. Also something that would be a little bit more interesting during all these spaces that they had, but whatever. You kind of sometimes, but I'd put a fade at the beginning, I'd put a fade at the end. I would go ahead and make sure the auto ducking is right. The whole thing is working exactly right. But once you have it set up, the cool thing is when you have the auto ducking working, if you came in here and you needed to adjust something, then it'll duck under wherever that starts without having to do it all again. So Studio One makes this whole thing easier. And yes, you get some awkward scripts. You get some stuff where you wonder, hey, what's wrong with these people? Okay. You really kind of wonder sometimes. Well, you know they didn't try it. That's okay. That's why they pay us. All right. And we get to make good decisions, and we get to match a specific point in the script with something that's going on the screen. And she just had to do that over and over again to say, well, this is a choice that goes here. When they provide a scratch track, it doesn't mean they have it right, but they have it close. And sometimes she's a second ahead, a half second behind. A lot of times she'll start at the same point. These two started pretty close to each other. But then I forever see, look at all this space that she left in here. Well, she was watching the video and made an artistic choice that this did not make sense to have whatever the gentleman was talking about in his scratch track. She would make the artistic choice. This one started a little later. This one ended a little earlier. All that kind of things. This actually starts at the same time, goes all the way through to here, and ends early because of whatever was going on the screen. And when it's all done, it just looks like, oh, I mean, in fact, nobody's really excited about it because it just looks right. All right? All right. Hope you guys I have to go for today. I've got another session to do. It's supposed to start right now. So I'm going to look at the last thing for comments here. And yep. And Deborah's got it right. Yep. All right. So it's Pro is on sale right now. Really good tool, especially for this. If you do this kind of things, it'll pay for itself after the first time. And there's even more. There's a bunch of little details. One, the better you know Studio One for just plain old voiceover, the more this will help. There are tips, tricks, keyboard shortcuts. I cover most of this stuff in the advanced course where you just need to be able to have some more finesse for editing things, detail level, that you don't need when you're doing most voiceovers. You don't need a lot of these details because you're not slipping things in a voiceover usually. It doesn't make any sense. If you have visuals, you need to match them together. This tool does that really well and keeps getting better. And you can optionally export a single track. You can put together sound effects. You can add music. And then if you chose to, you can go ahead and export that video and now combine with your music or your voiceover. Both. You can put out multiple versions quite easily. So you could also send them just the soundtrack by itself, and you can send them a complete one. And I have to admit, we made a lot of money because clients sent us a video. We put it together for them. For us, once you have it, you're just exporting the thing. It's one extra export. And one time we said, hey, by the way, here's the completed video so you can get an idea how it's going to sound, as opposed to when we send them the soundtrack and they don't see how well it matches, they don't always appreciate how good it can be. And we're sending them, and it's an extra 5 minutes to put the music in. Works really, really well, but also gets you some customers when they figure out, oh, they can put it all together and we can have a complete finished one coming back our way. So hope you have a fantastic day. If you have questions, throw them in the Studio One group, throw them in the YouTube. I'll get back to them as soon as possible. We'll do this again. Look forward to seeing you on the wires. Be sure to subscribe. If you're not on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. I'm doing 2 or 3 of these a week at this point. So go ahead. We'll see you on the wires. Talk to you later. Bye.